Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us today. Welcome to Ask the Expert series. I'm Kathryn Rose, founder and CEO of wiseHER, where we provide affordable, on-demand access to world-class experts that help you go farther faster in your business or career. Today is Get Wise Wednesday, and we have a special guest, Danielle Fitzpatrick Clark, founder of Influence Builder, and I'm so excited to talk with her today. This is one of my favorite topics, email marketing, and Danielle has amazing insights. So welcome, Danielle. Thanks so much for joining us. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey, everyone. Yeah, well, I'm a wiseHER expert first and foremost. Secondly, I've been called a digital disruptor. So I think it's because I like to do things a little bit different in digital. And we really like to customize a digital experience for people. So that's a little bit about me, founder of Influence Builder, where we really help small business owners build their digital platforms and find ways to automate and grow and scale their businesses online. So that's what we do.
Yeah, well, thanks so much for joining us. And, I know you and I have talked a bit about this previously because we've been in the internet marketing world for quite some time, right?
Yep.
And, it was back in the 2007, and some of you don't know my story, but I was on Wall Street. And when the mortgage market melted down, they shut our division. I was 8.5 months pregnant with my son, and my mom had a brain aneurysm that left her paraplegic. So I had to start completely from scratch. I had no idea what I was doing. And a lot of my clients said, hey, I want our websites to rank in Google. Can you do that? I was like, sure. And I had to learn it all from scratch, as I mentioned. And that was one of the impetus to start wiseHER, was to help. I can help people go farther faster, like some folks helped me. So, one of the things, Danielle, you and I talked about is the fact that, back then it was called like Web 2.0. Remember those days, right?
Oh my gosh.
And then I know, right? And it was these internet marketers who really cracked the code on how to get people's attention and keep people's attention, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was a lot easier back 10, 15 years ago. In the online space, it was.
But so many of the same principles apply. And, one of the things is, we talked about in starting this session was about like subject lines and just email marketing in general. And, one of the things that we talk about is the fact that, for the love of all that is sacred, stop sending emails that say what we're up to, because like no one cares.
Right? Oh, people do that still? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. And it's mostly like the corporate, realm and things like that. And so talk about like subject lines that, the kind of the anatomy, if you will, of a subject line.
So the anatomy of do you want to know the Danielle way? Is that what we're asking? Okay. So the Danielle way is actually to write the copy first. Yeah. So that's usually what I do before. Sometimes I will start with a great one-liner, but then I write the copy and I'm like, oh, we went in a completely different direction. So need to change it. So I usually will write the copy first. And what I start with is like, okay, what is the outcome that I want everyone to take with this email? Like, ideal outcome, what is that? We'll write down the ideal outcome, or like what's in it for them. So why do they need to read this to take the action that I'm going to ask them to take at the end of it? So we reverse engineer from there. And then we really focus on the first line in the email and then the header, because that's how you're going to get them to open up the actual email. And that's the hardest thing, is getting them to open the email.
And I love what you said there about, what's in it for them. So, when we talk about this, because all full disclosure, I hired Danielle. She's one of my experts. I hire my experts all the time. And really just talking about like what, who cares, right? Like who cares why should they care about opening your email, and what you're up to this week isn't the reason that they're going to open it.
It's not like Instagram, where people just look at your Instagram profile to see what you ate. It's not that. No.
Right. Yeah. So in terms of the subject, so you said that you really focus in on the first line of the email first when you're writing the copy, and then the subject line?
Yep. I do the first line because it's usually, if you don't, and not all email marketing platforms have that, but they usually have a subtext underneath
like the preview or whatever they call it.
Preview, but not everybody knows how to use it and find it. And then not all the email systems have them or make it visible. So we focus on that first line as well, but then we usually go back and create our headline based on that first line. And the reason is that I like to do a question answer. So it's almost like, or a continuation from the subject header. So I need to know what I'm going to say on the first line. And then I come up with what is it that I need to say in the subject header. And it's usually something really simple, like, gosh, what's my latest one? It was really good. But it's like,
how to out-expert the experts, I think.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. So experts are too busy being experts. That was the title. And then ... in the subject or in the actual content, it's like, and not mouthpieces. So it was more of a thought that our experts, they tend to be the most talented people in their industry, yet when it comes to putting themselves out there and being the loudest, they're not, because they're busy with their expertise. They're busy learning. They're busy contributing, teaching. Yeah. So they're not actually the ones that get known. And there is this saying, and unfortunately it's true most of the time, the loudest, the best marketer is the one that wins.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's one of the things that we do at wiseHER is we say, these are experts that you don't know but should. And the reason for that is because they're busy being experts, right? And they're not the ones shouting it off the rooftops, because sometimes those are not the most expert, folks that are out there. So in terms of the subject line, are there rules of thumb around how long it should be or anything like that?
Yeah, I found that the highest converting ones are the shortest. So the shorter, the better. If you can sum it up on what they're going to get, then I would say 5 words or less is usually golden, unless it does need to be long. So the other thing that, we've tested all of these and, with launches and everything, keep the brackets out of it and the caps, all caps.
Oh, yes. The all caps.
All caps. Yep.
That started to be a new thing. And the exclamation points. Oh, my goodness. I saw one the other day that was like 5 exclamation points. I'm like, I get you're excited.
Yeah. If your audience likes exclamation points, then give the people what they want, give it to them. But if the majority of them are just like, wow, this girl is way too excited for me. And it's Monday at 8 a.m. and I've only had 1 cup of coffee. I can't do this.
That is true. What about personalization? Because, I've noticed a lot of my internet marketer friends, they don't do that. It used to be like, Kathryn, how do you out-expert the expert? But they don't really do that anymore in the subject lines.
It just depends. Like the thing with email marketing is that you need to know how to talk to your ideal clients. Like your focus doesn't have to be on everybody. It just needs to be on the ones that you are trying to get to open the email. So if you're in what I call a softer service-based industry, then personalization may make the most sense. They want to know that you care. If you're in more of a corporate setting, they tend to be action takers. I don't have a lot of time. Just tell me what I need to know and I'll open it. So then you don't need the personalization because they're there for information.
Right. Got it.
Depends.
Okay.
Depends.
So it depends on the type of email. So you have your marketing emails and you have your transactional emails, right?
Yep.
So those are all different types, and your newsletters and things like that. We have a great question from Irene. How about people using all lowercase or or do emojis work?
Same thing. It depends on your ideal clients. Like I actually have clients that said anybody, sorry, that may have been loud. Anybody with an emoji in their title is my person. So, if that's the case, then it makes sense to have emojis. If your people don't really use emojis on their social media posts or comment on people who have posts that have emojis, that's a good indicator that you don't need to use it. And, we always like to test. So test, tweak, repurpose, reuse when it makes sense, let go of what doesn't. So right. Test it out if you're not sure too.
And I think it comes back to things that you keep saying, and I just want to kind of hone in on this, is the fact that, it's all about your ideal customer. So before you even put like pen to paper or whatever, so to speak, finger to keyboard, who are you trying to talk to, right?
Yep. Yeah. And what's in it for them? Like, that's the other thing. Who are you trying to talk to? What's in it for them? And like, you don't have to get it right the first time. This is what I tell everybody. Like, you're most likely you're not going to get it right the first time anyway. So don't stop yourself by trying to make it perfect and trying to figure it out. Sometimes you can actually figure out your ideal client by doing it wrong first. So you can. I mean, this is the great thing about email marketing is that there's a great little unsubscribe button. You don't have to deal with them. If they don't like it, they could just unsubscribe. That will give you the information that you need. Like, man, I really missed the mark on this. I'm still in a safe little container because it's my email. Yeah. So you can't touch me here, but it's, but it's still good. We're going to get the feedback either way, because unsubscribe is saying, you didn't hit it for me. This isn't me. Yeah. So then we can see who it was. If we see that, man, I really wanted to work with them, then okay, it's time to come back to the plate and try something different. So we'll use the emojis for an example. If you throw in an emoji and then you lose five people unsubscribe that you really wanted to work with, don't use emojis next time. Yeah,
right. Keep trying it. And the A/B testing can be super helpful with a lot of SaaS companies and, the bigger email marketing platforms. You can do a lot of A/B testing. And so that's really important, I think, to make sure that you're, like you said, always, testing out the subject lines and testing out the different ways that you can communicate with these folks and figuring out what works and kind of sticking with it. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And stop using the re. Don't use the re anymore. Don't use anything that is inauthentic.
That's gimmicky.
Like, that's gimmicky, inauthentic. Like, I'm just gonna go on my soapbox. Stop doing it. If you're doing it, stop it. Because here's the thing. Like, that kind of NLP-ish type subject headers are getting really, really old. Yes, they get open rates, but there's so much negative that comes with them. Like, oh my gosh, this person just stressed me out. I don't even know who they are. I was sure I didn't sign up for this. I've had those. Like, I'm like, wait,
did I respond to that? I know, like, what? Yeah, I sent you an email. Yeah, I've done it a million times. Now you just use an acronym, and I want to make sure the audience understands. So NLP is neuro-linguistic programming, right? And that's something that a lot of gurus like Tony Robbins and those kinds of folks, they understand the way to communicate with people, put people front and center. And there's a whole science behind that. Mm-hmm. And that's what you were referring to, right? Is that, they use those kinds of things to, to kind of sort of trick you into opening their email.
Well, and, and there's good sides of NLP and there's bad. I call it the dark side of NLP, right? So I like Star Wars, the dark and the light. I call it the dark side of NLP, where it's that we are poking at their pain and their stress. So yes, it does release endorphins. It does make people take action. Yet it leaves a very sour taste in their mouth. Not literally, but figuratively it does. And then that's what you get known for. Like, oh my gosh, unsubscribe. I never want to see this person again. They just stress me out. And they made me think they made me think first. I had to think too long. Like, did I respond? Did I send that person the email? Or, I get a lot of them all the time that I'm just like, wow, this is terrible. And talk a little bit about the number of emails, because one of the things that I find so fascinating is some of the top, and I'm not going to use digital marketer, I'm going to say internet marketer, because that's these people have been around for a long time too, like you and I am. And some of them send multiple emails a day, certainly multiple emails a week. And when in different types of rooms that I've been in talking about this kind of stuff, they're like, oh, we can't send more than one email a week. What are your thoughts on that? It's a really good question. It all depends on your ideal client. So, I don't necessarily think you need to send a dozen emails in one day. Like, I do think that's a lot. Where I tend to fall on this is the customer journey. So what are we trying to do, and how are these guys coming in? So your traffic sources matter too when it comes to this. So if it's the case where you're bringing in brand new traffic, cold traffic, then yeah, you're going to want to warm these guys up more. You're going to want to send maybe a daily email, maybe an every other day email. Some of the things that we're doing for your people is that for the first 5 days, we want to make sure that we're giving them certain information so that we're doing daily emails, but it makes sense for the situation. So consider the traffic source, consider who the prospect is and how they're coming in, and then create something based on a customer journey event. So customer journey is the experience that a customer is having as soon as they enter your marketing, your email marketing, your sales process. So if it's something where they're coming in from a webinar, you made an offer on the webinar and you have expiring bonuses, then yeah, you need to send some more emails because it's expiring and the people will only see maybe one of those emails a day. So maybe you need to send 2 because you've got 2 days before that bonus expires.
Right. Or the call to, or it's a demo of a software platform or something. Right. And the call to action at the end is, schedule another time or something like that.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, you want to make sure that you're constantly touching those people, right?
Right. Right. And if it's a I call this a nurture funnel or a nurture email sequence. So let's just say they go through the process, they jump on some kind of a sales call or a sales protocol. And afterwards they don't buy, but they go into a nurture. So do we really want to hit them over the head with the fact that they didn't buy from us and punish them? No, we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. We want them to eventually buy from us. So we need to nurture them and to get them excited for our next email. How do we do that? How many emails do we need to send to do that? Yeah. And it's the customer experience. Like I said, it's,
and some of it is just, kind of stepping, in my opinion, like kind of stepping outside yourself and asking your current customers, right? Or your potential ideal customers. If you're just getting off the ground, you must have done some kind of research. When you know those people's pain points, it's easier to write copy and write subject lines and things that speak directly to that those pain points without being gimmicky, So Drita asked a great question. She struggles with what to write in her email blast since they don't sell a product or a common service or coaching.
Struggles what to write in an email blast. So they're not selling. What is she selling? That would be useful.
So I actually know Drita. So she owns a translation business, and she also does voiceover in different languages and those kinds of things.
Oh, okay. So she's not selling like just a product. She's selling something like a service-based one that's specific to what people who come into her, we'll just call it a funnel, need.
Yes.
Well, I guess it just depends. I mean, how segmented is your list? So if your list is segmented, and segmentation just means that we've brought a large audience that has 3 different types of potential clients in it. We segmented them out based on need in some way. There's a lot of ways to do that. And then the emails become specific to that segmentation. So we offer translation and interpreter services as well as bilingual voiceover. So you got 3 right there. See?
Yep.
So we've got translation, 1 segmentation, interpreter services, 1 segmentation, and then multilingual voiceover, 1 segmentation. So those are 3 different ones. So email blast cannot be all inclusive. They can't be all of this at once. Like, and so that's what I would suggest is like, okay, take each of these pieces and create email marketing and emails that are specific to solving what it is they most need. And your email doesn't always have to have a call to action. It can just be things like an engagement email. So an engagement email is just asking them, hey, question, or hey, I want to know more about you. Please hit respond, or hey, come over to this group and talk to us. Those are the kinds of things that you can do with an engagement email. It's the same thing that we do with engagement posts. We get people to talk to us. So that's one of the great ways that you can segment and then engage and understand what's going on with them more. So then you can create even better emails and so on. You can do teaser emails. So a teaser one is I've got something big coming down the hopper.
Yeah.
Those
work actually really well. Or
Yep.
like in your case, Drita, I mean, you're selling the translation services, it's a global marketplace. Are these
Yep.
people leaving money on the table? Like people don't want to ever feel like they're leaving money on the table. And
Right.
it's like, if you're not translating your videos, your audio, your demos, all the things that, especially in the B2B world, if you're not taking advantage of that service, you could be leaving money on the table.
Yeah. And so that goes into the third one, which is an authority type email, which is saying, here's what we know about the industry. Here's what we do. Here's why you need it. So, and those ones normally, yes, I like to put a call to action, which is set up a call with us if you want more in-depth information on this. Authority emails can be moving people over to other social media platforms, like LinkedIn's a great one for this. You wrote an article. Awesome. Give a teaser in an email. Send it. Send them over to your LinkedIn. Oh, hey, by the way, don't forget to connect with me. You're going to get even more information. So that's just another authority-based email. And then the last one, of course, is a promo. So if we're selling stuff, which she's not selling anything specific, it sounds like she needs to get on a phone call with people. Promo emails may not work and you don't have to use them. But for, other people who are like, I have something big coming down, the hopper, then a promo email after a teaser or a few teasers makes sense. So I usually like to do those 4 categories with email marketing.
Yeah. So, and speaking of those multi-touch points, I think, and I mentioned it a little bit earlier too, but I wanted to get your opinion on this is, how many, touch points do you need sometimes to move folks, into a sale situation?
Geez, I know this changes every year, right? So 3 or 4 years ago, what was it? 4 to 5 touch points? I mean, I think it's always been more than that, but I usually hear 5 to 7 in the online industry, 5 to 7 touch points. And touch points don't necessarily mean emails, because touch points only count if they touch it, if they open it. So just so you guys know, it only counts if they open it. So touch points can be emails, they can be text messages, they can be Facebook messages, LinkedIn messages. So it doesn't mean you have to send 5 to 7 emails and then I'm done. Yes. Right. No, they need to touch it. They need to open it. They call them touch points for a reason. We have to get in front of them a certain amount of time. And yes, there is the saying that the more that we can get in front of somebody, the more likely it is that they will connect with us and potentially buy. It's true. It's the human condition. We like to connect. We like to be heard. We like to be seen. But there's multiple ways of doing that alongside your email. So
it's part of a larger strategy. It's not in and of itself, right?
Yeah, so, I can't give you guys like an exact number. Like, go ahead and set up 5 to 7 emails. Because I know that's not true. I know it's not true for everybody. Sometimes it is, but again, they have to open up the emails. And even if they open up the emails, it doesn't mean that it's exactly what they need if you haven't done the research at the beginning and you haven't done segmentation. So there's a lot that goes into it, but once you've got it, then it's a machine.
Once you get it set up, I think that's what we've been working on for a while too, is like just making sure it gets set up. The other question I had for you is, a lot of startups, a lot of small businesses, you're working, so crazy on your business and you're just trying to get your sites done or you're trying to get all these things done. Yeah. What kinds of software platforms would you recommend, at least for the starting point for a lot of folks?
Yeah. So I tell everybody, I mean, if you're starting up, there's free ones. So MailChimp is the big one. I don't love MailChimp's deliverability. I'll say it. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of preach it, in the background that are just like, yes. Yeah. And here's the thing with there's so many things going on with deliverability in general. What's really important is that you have an email that you're using within your email systems, whatever they are, that isn't brand new. So it's not brand spanking new. And some of the other things that they look for is that it hasn't landed on some kind of spam complaint list, which you can Google is my email on spam complaint list and see if it is, and just see. So it's again, starting from the beginning, it's a foundational piece. Active Campaign's not bad. I don't mind it. Don't love it, but don't mind it.
Well, for some B2B, Yeah, and for some B2B, like HubSpot's really, really great.
Yep. I like HubSpot a lot better.
Yeah, they do a fantastic job. I mean, they've been around a long time. I think I was on their beta thing a million years ago, but they do a really great job. But for a lot of small businesses, it's not affordable. But I think, there are so many out there. I think in some ways it comes back to what you said, not only who are your ideal client, but what capacity do you have to manage this, right?
Oh, yes. Yes. I mean, because that's the other thing. I mean, can you sit down and get your whole email marketing campaign created for the next 6 months? Yeah, you absolutely can. When you know who you're talking to, how you want to talk to them, all those pieces. So that's whenever we're doing email marketing, there's always like a checklist. I have to have it beforehand. Yeah. So somebody just said like, yeah, spam and MailChimp.
Yeah.
Active campaign. I mean, it just depends. Again, it goes back to your initial email that you're using. You have to check that stuff. Yeah, I do like HubSpot a lot. Anything that you guys can use and segment would be my recommendation. So don't just go with one, try out several. This is why they all have trial periods, right? So you can go in. If you can use it and you can figure it out and you can do it quickly, then that's the one for you. Because you have to go in there and use it and you have to like using it and you can't swear at it every time you go in and just like, I'm not sending it at all, because then you're just wasting your time and your money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So if folks are listening and they haven't been real regular about sending emails, or let's say, it's a startup and they're just starting out and they're just starting to send emails, what's your suggestion about kind of warming up a cold list?
Yeah, that's a good one. Be authentic first and foremost. Acknowledge that you haven't been present. So if it's a cold list and you've let it go cold, say, brr, it's chilly. I know. You guys probably think I gave you, I mean, that right in the subject header would be brr. It's kind of cold in here. Yes, I'm talking about in my email marketing system. My apologies. I acknowledge I have not been. It probably feels like I've given you the cold shoulder. So, I mean, it's amusing. It'll get some open rates. You're being authentic. You're acknowledging I haven't been there for you. Let's start off on a better foot because I've got lots of great stuff to share with you. Okay. That's a really great way of doing it. It's not a big deal. Like everyone's like, I can't email. And, because people will get in their head just like, I can't email them. They've gone cold. I can't do anything. I'm like, yeah, you can. Just tell them, be honest, be authentic. If you're a bigger company, same thing. Comedy works.
Comedy works. And also too, people are busy and they'll be like, oh, I'm so glad I'm not the only one.
Right. Exactly. So relatability too. Relatability too. So be relatable, be authentic. The other thing and I think this is really great advice. One of my clients, she does executive coaching for big CEOs. She's like, apologize when you're wrong. Apologize and acknowledge when you're wrong. If you did something, if you didn't follow through, if you brought people into your email list, apologize. It'll gain you so much more respect than just coming in just like, hey, how's it going? And acting like you can just pick up where you left off. Because if they are cold, then they need to get to know you again. Best way to get to know you is to be authentic.
Fantastic. And just a couple more questions on the email itself. What about design? Because I know for many years it was kind of accepted in the internet marketing community, or the guru internet marketing community, that you didn't use fancy templates. HTML emails, they were much more likely to go to spam. You have to hit that little button that says, load all images on mobile. So they all went to pretty much plain text. What is the accepted view out there now?
I mean, it's gotta convert to mobile. I mean, that's the number one thing, is that it's gotta convert to mobile, and you don't want it to go to people's promo spam folders. So that's number one. So how do you do that? Well, the good thing is that all these email marketing platforms, they have something that will show you how it's showing up on mobile.
Okay.
Right. So most everything is a drag and drop at this point. HTML, it's not easy to use. So I don't recommend it to people who just need to get email out there. So use a email marketing template or something within the system if you don't know where to start, because they all have templates. Send it to your email, send it more than once, Make sure that it shows up good on your phone, and make sure it shows up in the actual folder and not the spam or promo folder, by sending tests to yourself. So that's the best way to test out a subject line in an email when it comes to spam and when it comes to promos, is to send a test to yourself to see where it lands in your own inbox and send it to multiple inboxes. So if you've got a couple of those, send it there. Make sure it shows up on mobile really well too. So that's my 2 things. That if you're going to do anything, do this. Yep. Doesn't have to be fancy. Just has to make it there. Has to get in front of them. And it has to not look wonky on your phone.
So I think that, I think that done is better than perfect kind of situation, right? It's better to have it than not do it at all, because you're like, oh, it doesn't look as good as, maybe some competitors have landed in my email box, right?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's the message that counts. It doesn't matter. Like, seriously, it's what counts in the writing of it, because anything else is just fluff. Right. And for me, I mean, if what I like for fluff is not in my email inbox, it's like my pets and my cat, that I like fluffy, and my pillow, I like fluffy, not in my inbox. Not in my email inbox. I want to see the human.
Right. Okay. Yep. That's great advice. Yep. Somebody asked earlier too, like, should I have one of those fancy signatures on my email? I guess it was something that they were concerned about. Should you always have a signature on your email?
Well, again, depends on personal preference on that one. I don't think it's it's not a make or break you. It's again, how does it look on mobile? Yeah. If it looks really big and really weird compared to your text, no, don't do it. How does it look on mobile? If it looks like it matches really well and you're able to pull in just the right sized image and place it, great. Keep it if you like it and move on. But seriously, don't make it wonky. Don't make it look weird on your phone.
That's important stuff. So I know we only have a couple minutes left. So just let's kind of go back a little bit just to wrap up. Can you just give us those main 5, let's say 5 tips, 3 to 5 tips of, if you're thinking about, how you're going to market through email, what are the most important things to think about?
Yep. So if you're going to email market, make sure that you know your email list. Your subscribers, know who they are, make it really easy for them to subscribe. So right at the beginning, know who they are, make it easy for them to subscribe. And then keep your subject headers interesting and on point and specific to them. So all that for one tip that's really, really long. It could be all 5. I talk a lot. Yep. Yeah, we talk a lot in this house. So another one would be to make it relatable to the ideal client. Like, it's got to be about them. It's got to be about them. It can't be a whole email about, here's what we're doing. Yes, we're narcissistic. Yeah. Don't really give a crap about you, because we just want to talk about ourselves on our email. So yeah. Oh, of course. My kitty. There's my Fluffy right there. Every time I go live, she has to come hang out. She's never in here otherwise. So yes, number 2, make it relatable, make it about them. Take out anything, unless it's relevant, take out I's and our company and make it about you, first name, put in first name, what you need, things like that. Take out they. Everybody wants it specific to them. So you're going to do really well with that. Number 3, just to round it out, is that if you have a call to action, make it clear that you're asking them to do something. So that's the other really important thing with email marketing. We always want them to take some kind of an action. Right. Make sure you're telling them what that action is. Don't just throw a link in there and say, hey, click here and we can talk. What am I clicking to? Why? What are we talking about? You need to tell them what it is. Get really specific. People like to know what you're telling them to do and why you're telling them to do it. There's not very many people in email. There's not very many people that are receiving the email. It's just like, oh, okay, she told me to do something, so I'm going to do it. I don't know what it is, but I'm excited. Once in a while, you'll get the fan guy that will do that no matter what. I'd say about 90% will not be those people. And those are where your ideal clients are too. Yeah.
That's fantastic. So, well, thank you. Thank you for spending the time with us today. And thank you for all of you watching. Please take these tips to heart, because I think that, I know, because I've done them for many years and I work with Danielle and the results are amazing. So, really, I can't send this home enough not to make it about you. You always have to think to yourself, who cares? Like, who cares to open this message, right? Let's make sure that we're thinking about it from their perspective. But thank you, Danielle. Always, it's such a pleasure to speak with you. And, you're such an amazing guest and all these amazing tips that you gave all of us. So thank you again. And if you want to be reminded about our lives, head over to goasktheexpert.com and you can sign up for our list. And you can also schedule a call with Danielle on wiseHER. So go to wiseHER.com and you can look up Danielle Clark or Danielle Fitzpatrick Clark, and she will come up, and she would love to talk to you more about email marketing and all the other amazing things that she's so good at. So thanks so much for that. And please come join us on Friday. Both of our personal favorites, Precious Williams, is coming. It's going to be a guest on Funding Friday, talking about really figuring out how to give and deliver your perfect pitch. And they call her the killer pitch master, and they do that for a reason, because she's amazing. So please join us on Friday, and we're really excited to see you. And if you are a founder and a startup founder who identifies as a woman, please come and join our Woman Founder community on Facebook. Thanks so much again, and we'll see you on Friday.
Bye, everyone.